We are live. Thank you for your patience.
We'll call our regular council meeting of Thursday, October 12th, 2023 to order. If you'd all please, we'll stand and pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all for being here. Our clerk of council is not with us tonight, so I will do the roll call. Bink Garbett. Here. Michael Mays. Here. Kelly Campbell. Here. Kelly Cornett.
Here.
Jeremy Varner.
Here.
Nancy Montgomery.
Here.
Very good. Before we go into public comment, there's a special presentation I'd like to make. As many of you are aware, if you've gone through town during the summer months, flowers have looked great this year. Wonderful. We have a group of people, one that spearheads it, that's done such a magnificent job over the last several years. And, you know, I think it's just wonderful. And that is Pam McKinney. And so Pam, if you'll come up front, I'm going to come around and meet with you and I'll read this for you. Whereas we revere our communities and always wish it to be better and more appealing to everyone, and whereas we in village government get bogged down in everyday matters that consume our time, and whereas there are individuals and groups in our community that take the time and effort to make our community more visually delightful without regard to their time and expenses, and whereas those individuals come back year after year to truly give us a stroke of color to our downtown area by providing and maintaining colorful, cheerful floral arrangements for us to enjoy the entire summer. This endeavor is not just a one-time construction of potted plants and flowers, but an entire season of upkeep, watering, fertilizing, and pruning. It is evident that this year's arrangements were well maintained and especially beautiful. So, it is fitting and proper that we recognize and commend those that participated and gave their time and talents to this community and created a reason for all of us to smile as we traverse through our downtown. Pam McKinney and her team were well versed in this project and were superb in the beautification of our community. It is to them that we owe them gratitude for a job, not only a good job, but for a magnificent presentation of artful arranging and maintaining our smiles all summer long. So congratulations, Pam. Thank you.
Good job.
Also, before we get into our public comment, I've been asked by council to read a statement regarding a situation that had occurred in the past. A village employee filed a sexual harassment complaint against Councilmember Mike Mays related to his conduct at Kegs for a Cause, a village-sponsored event. The village is required by law to investigate all claims of sexual harassment, and this was no exception. Because the claims involved a member of village council, the village administrator, and the village solicitor could not be involved in the investigation, since the accused is a person who votes to approve their employment contracts. As a result, the village had to hire outside legal counsel to investigate the sexual harassment claims made against Councilmember Mays. After being contacted by the investigator on several occasions, Councilmember Mays refused to answer any questions about the incidents or to participate in any way with the village's investigation of the claims. This sends the wrong message to our employees. The claims made against Councilmember Mays in the report speak for themselves. The investigative report about this incident is a public record that is available to the public. The investigator concluded that while Councilmember Mays' conduct the night of the incident was not sexual in nature, it was not model behavior for a council member. The investigator also concluded that Councilmember Mays did violate Ohio public law that prohibits village employees from being solicited for political purposes. I want to be clear, the village is an equal opportunity employer which does not tolerate harassment of any kind involving our employees. As elected officials, we are expected to strive to be positive role models, particularly at village-sponsored events. We also need to work with our village staff cooperatively to work for the betterment of our community, not create an environment where they feel harassed or compelled to file complaints. That being said, we will go to our public comment. If there's anyone that wishes to address council, they can come up to the table and they can have 5 minutes. So, okay. Again, if you pull that mic down towards you, Steve.
Steve, I didn't check that one. Can you do is it doing its thing?
Sting,
Thank
yep,
you.
sounds like
Perfect.
it.
Thank you, Steve.
That was interesting how that statement said the words sexual misconduct 6 or 8 times, and then sandwiched down there at the very end of it, it said the report showed there was absolutely no sexual misconduct. Anyway, hey, I know local politics has gotten a little dirty here lately, and I don't think I have done a thing to cause that. I've tried to hide from that. Since I resigned from council, I haven't put a political sign in my yard related to any village council races or mayor races. I've been asked by several people to do so. I haven't. I've been asked to put signs in my mother's yard, who's right a pretty good place to put a sign right across from the polling station, and I haven't let people do that. I've really tried to stay out of the fray. It disappoints me to almost on a daily basis be told that my name is being said on a current candidate's page repeatedly and always in a negative way. Mayor, you will recall when council had some issues with you at one time, we all sat up in the Gaslight Theater and the entire council voted to go get you an attorney. They okayed that expenditure. They also okayed the expenditure to get ourselves an attorney. And I'm very glad we did that because I did that. I can say things now that I couldn't say when I was on council. I've got the text message to prove it, by the way. I did that because there were 2 people, me and Mike Mays, who didn't think there was just cause to be getting rid of you. And we wanted an attorney to tell us there was. And an attorney wouldn't do that. So they never got our votes and it died on the floor. My point is there was money allocated to go spend to get an attorney. In the case against Ms. Montgomery, this council, the council I was on, never voted for an expenditure to go get a stenographer, to go get quite the opposite. I said we don't need those things. It's now that may be legally true or not, but I was opposed to doing that. So to hear about every other day now, and I don't like to talk about things I've donated because if you're donating and you have to put your sign in front of everything you do, you're doing it for the wrong purpose. But I've donated thousands of dollars worth of time to the community, as you well know. And to hear that me and Mike Mays wasted $5,000, spent $5,000 of taxpayer money, of course, never mentioning that he knocked down a $10,000 building for free. It's getting to a point where it's becoming injurious to me, and I'm about ready to snap on it. How much am I ready to snap? This much. Let's go back to the hearing against Ms. Montgomery. One of the allegations made in that hearing was that she got on council and had ill will towards the police department and wanted to do them harm. Now, hypothetically, if I had text messages wherein she is trying to convince me to vote for that assessment to get that result, to get the result that would maybe keep officers from being promoted or dismissed, or if I were to get a text message trying to convince me to vote for your removal so that the president could take your seat and in turn fire Rob Freeland, okay? If I had those kind of messages, you know what? Leading up to the hearing, that the time I spent preparing for that case, I could have presented those kind of things if I had them hypothetically, and it felt like I'd be crossing a line. Those were messages that were shared in private between council people. Never thought they would be put out in public. Funny, when I went to the hearing that night in the public speaking portion, the very first person that gets up and speaks reads a text message that I wrote to a council member in this same thread in an attempt to embarrass me. That would have been a good time for me to rip up my notes for that hearing and say, oh, that's how we're going to play? Let me show you this, which would have slam dunk proved at least one of the allegations I was making. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it when I prepared for that case, and I didn't do it the night of that hearing. It seemed unethical. But I will not sit around and come home from work and get on my Facebook to see what my friends and family are doing and have a message from somebody saying, you need to go over and look at this page. You're being accused of this. You're being accused about lying about this. The best thing candidates could probably do is talk about the positive things they've done, There's some candidates that I don't necessarily endorse on sitting up in front of me, but they've done some very positive things and put the focus there. I will be back 2 weeks from now at the council meeting with big placards of those text messages if I continue to be defamed. I might be the ex-council person you don't like, but I am a tax-paying citizen with 2 businesses in this town. I'm paying your salary now. I'm not going to be lied about. I'm not going to be accused of lying when I'm holding in my hand something that would prove what you're telling people is an absolute bold-faced lie. I don't think I need my final 30 seconds. First time I haven't gone over ever. That's it. It's not a warning. It's not a threat. I'm saying accentuate the positive you've done. Leave me the hell out of it. I resigned for a reason. I don't want to see, even if it's an innuendo or a reference to me, it's very clear at this point with all the mudslinging going back and forth who some of the players are in this. I don't care to be a player in it anymore. I've tried to stay out of the way. Don't keep pulling me back in it. It will not end well for you if we really put the truth out there. Thank you.
I think Steve excuse me.
When I was on council, you said you were going to do away with people getting up and doing public statements.
We're not going back and forth. We're going to listen to our
I was
comments here.
going to agree with.
Do we have someone else that wishes to address council?
Do it on your page, Nancy.
Okay, Jan, stop. Yeah, Jan. If you would, please announce your name, and you have up to 5 minutes, okay?
It won't take me that long. I
Okay.
just made a couple of notes. My name is Jan Staubach, and I live here in Georgetown. I just want to say to everybody, welcome to Mayberry. We don't have a laugh track though, but welcome anyway. I'll be brief. I am disgusted by the recent attacks on Councilwoman Nancy Montgomery and the subsequent recall measure, an action brought by a few people with personal agendas. A few of those vocal detractors are disgruntled village residents. I can understand that. Some are not. However, they're all ill-informed, just throwing lies and innuendos at the wall and hoping that something sticks. One self-absorbed person is fueling this movement by using Facebook for spreading her hatred or maybe jealousy of Mrs. Montgomery. This particular person was given, and pay attention to the words was given, law enforcement documents pertaining to family members of Mrs. Montgomery, not Mrs. Montgomery herself. And she has been posting them on her Facebook page. I finally had to block her because she was harassing me. And she did take down the information that she was sent from law enforcement, actually from one of Rob's officers. And she's been posting that on her Facebook page. She's been bashing everyone who opposes her, referring to them as, quote, mentally unstable. She says that so many times that psychologists refer to this as projection. So you might consider that when you're dealing with her. I would advise everyone to look at all that Mrs. Montgomery has accomplished to make this village a better place to live. Businesses, families appreciate what she has done here, because if I had money and I was going to invest in a business out here, I'd want to make sure that my employees would be happy living here. And she's done quite a bit in that area, particularly in the park. If I were going to buy a house here, I'd want to make sure that schools were okay. My kids had a place to go. Again, the park. I would advise anyone to take a look at those making these accusations or intentionally misconstruing the fact, and also consider their motives for doing so. I'd also advise those who live in glass houses that they shouldn't be throwing stones, because information isn't that hard to receive, through the internet. And it's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black, but they should be advised. So I would ask everybody just to go to the Board of Elections and vote early and vote no on the recall for Mrs. Montgomery. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to address Rex?
If you know why I'm here, I'm Rex Loudon. I'm one of the monsters on motorcycles. And I'd like to ask council members to again approve that we can go through the blocked road and ride Main Street a few times. And we've never caused any problem. And I think 98% of the kids love it. You might have that 1% that it scares them, but it's Halloween. And we've been doing this in memory of Ed Simpson, who started 25 years ago. And I'd like to ask the council for permission to do it again this year during trick or treat.
Chief, there wasn't any incidents at all in regard to that, was there?
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. I think your biggest fan is right over here in Jeremy Varner. But,
I like push the kids away. I'm like, I got to take film of this. You guys are fantastic.
Yeah, we enjoy doing it. And on a side note, tomorrow is the 3rd anniversary when Ed was killed with his motorcycle.
like it's been that long. Is there any opposition to allowing Rex's group to do as they have in the past several years? Okay, there you
I
go.
do have one quick question for Joey,
Yes.
possibly joining Rob. Is the setup going to be the same? So are these guys going to be like the
They've
same?
always been good to us. They've let us through. They haven't, you can block the road for a car, but a motorcycle's only this wide.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if like the same
No,
roads
they've
were
done-
blocked
they've
off.
done well.
Okay.
No, thank you very much. Thank you, council. I appreciate it.
All right, Rex,
you.
thanks. Would anyone else like to address council?
Yes, my name is Jeremy Jones, a candidate for mayor. And I just want to put some facts out there that I know we hear a lot of ayes when it comes to things that our town has achieved. But I believe, as I was informed when I ran 2 years ago with Steve in my driveway, that it takes more than one to achieve that. It takes four to achieve any goal in our town. Just want to straighten that out for all those listening and didn't know. It takes four. Also, Jones means stronger together.
Thank you, Jeremy. Is there anyone else that would like to address council? Sir? Yeah, go ahead. If you would introduce yourself, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm Steve Parks. I live on Grant Avenue here. I just had a couple questions for Mike Mays. When did this happen? You said it was the beer fest. What's it called? Cakes for, what was the date on that?
I don't recall the day.
July 15th.
15th.
I'm 99% sure. You can check on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Now,
It's Trixie
when
birthday.
did you go after Nancy Montgomery, you and Steve Wolf, to have her removed? I'm just trying to figure out some dates. If there might have been a reason why Kelly Montgomery would have done that just to start something. It's kind of obvious to me. But if I could just see those dates or know them, I think everybody could make a better decision.
You could go to the village office, I'm sure, and ask Natalie for
You don't
dates on
know
the meetings.
when
But I
or-
don't know exactly.
when or
Do you
about?
recall 3 months ago, 6 months ago?
to his point, it was previous to the beer fest.
Yeah, it was previous to the beer fest.
So it was previous, and then she done that after the beer fest, like there might have been some kind of a gig there.
I can't say.
I know. I just had those questions. I just wondered because it looks pretty evident, but just want to make sure everybody was thinking about it. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address council that's here tonight? Delbert?
Delbert Eichholz, Georgetown. One thing that came to my attention that people like to call Joe Braun and people on the council and talk a little bit longer than they should. What's the price for talking? What do they charge per hour?
More than what we want to pay. Let's put it that way.
So my thinking is, and just a suggestion is, if you call him, get to the point and get off. You know, don't ramble on and on. You're the one that rambles. So keep that in mind.
Last 2 years, twice.
For 3 days at a time.
Anything else, Delbert?
That's pretty much it.
All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to address council at this time? If not, I failed to introduce our new solicitor for the evening today. Solicitor Braun is out of town tonight, and this is Emily Subiker. Is that correct
Yes, that's correct.
pronunciation? She's been with Strauss-Troy for longer than Joe has, so
Oh,
she
no,
is.
no, he's been there longer than me, but we've known each other for a
Oh,
long
okay. Well, I
time.
was trying to give you credit for more
Oh, that's
time
okay.
served. Okay, but she's here to fill in for him tonight, so. Okay, there being no other discussion, public comments, we'll move into our general business. And in your packet, on page 1 of your packet is our minutes from our last council meeting. And we would need for council to approve these unless there are some corrections, deletions or additions that need to be made to them. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's one right here. You got one? There is one other one, extra one up here if someone would like it.
I'll move to accept the minutes as written.
We have a motion by Nancy Montgomery to approve them as written. Do we have a second? Second by Kelly Campbell. Let's do a roll call vote. Let's do Bink Garbett,
Yes.
Michael Mays,
Yes.
Kelly Campbell.
Yes.
Kelly Cornett,
Yes.
Jeremy Varner,
Yes.
and Nancy Montgomery.
Yes.
Very good. On page 5 of your packet is the review of the CDC meeting minutes. And all the members are here tonight. If there's anything that they would like to place in there or explain anything, they can do so at this point in time, but it is for your review. And you can get in touch with any of those members on that committee if you want more detail.
This is an ongoing process. We've been meeting with the Historic District Sign Committee, and we're redoing, the ordinance needed to be clarified. We're not changing anything, really kind of clarifying it. And the packet that businesses are given about the signs, there's a map in there of the Historic District, which a lot of people are not aware what's in the Historic District. There's an application, there's a brochure, which we went through tonight and are updating, and there's an FAQ that we're going to be updating. So that's just taking us a while. You'll read about this several times for several meetings.
Any questions for the committee? If not, we will move on. On page 6 of your packet is the review of the Utilities Committee meeting minutes. And Jeremy, you're instrumental in that, and so is Kelly Campbell, I believe. And Mike, are you on? Mike is on there too.
Yeah.
If there's any comments you'd like to make in regards to that, you can do so at this time.
I don't have anything to add except for the fact that this last one was quite busy and there's so many things going on. We actually did not have the meeting for this evening because the opposite was true. I think we got over a huge hump of decision-making in the last meeting, and now things are moving forward. So I don't think there's anything for me to add.
The only other thing to add to that is there was forms that most people should have received about the gas aggregation, and just simply filling out the form and sending it back if you don't want to be a part of it, right? That's pretty simple too.
Yeah, and I've gotten a call here and there about them being rolled out. If it makes you feel any better, I just got mine a couple days ago for the first time. And so if you haven't gotten one yet, that's entirely possible. I don't know what order they're doing them in or what, but it seems like the last of them are going out soon.
Yeah, Fred Thomas actually called me and asked me about it, and I told him simple, fill out the form, send it back. He really liked the idea of sticking with Duke, but some people want
Right.
to move forward and some, so.
And I would also throw that, because some small, and we've said this before, some small businesses actually qualify for gas aggregation if they choose. But they may not necessarily get the notifications because they are registered as a business. So if you are a small business and if you are using less than 5,000 cubic feet annually, and you have it to be able to show that on your gas record, you might want to get a hold of me, get a hold of the village, or get a hold of the aggregator directly. He's in our meeting minutes and everything, and look into if that might be something you're interested in. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
Any questions for the committee? If no, we will move on to page 7 for the Budget Committee meeting minutes. Members are here if they wish to discuss any of this. It's kind of an ongoing thing. Kelly, I don't know whether you have any comments at this time.
No, we've been spending a lot of our time reviewing the insurance policy for the village and how we can kind of massage that a little to make it more modern day, if you will. That's been an ongoing discussion for probably the last few meetings. Outside of that, there's been some other things. We talked about the water building and funding and things of that nature.
There for your review. You can contact any of the members on that committee for any further details, the information that you may need. On page 8 is the Human Resources Committee meeting minutes. And once again, the same thing applies. We have all of our committee members here if they wish to discuss anything at this juncture.
Nothing too much. I mean, nothing at this point that's a finished product, but we're still working on job grades, job salaries, job descriptions, just making sure that we're getting that piece of the puzzle right. And we've been fortunate to meet with all department heads at this point and have some great dialogue in regards to what they see for their departments and employees. And so it's been very good.
On page 9 of your packet is an ordinance for building acquisition bonds. And that goes through page 15. So for instance, Kelly, this ordinance is actually on page 11. So if you could read this by title only, please.
An ordinance providing for the issuance of limited tax general obligation building acquisition bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $535,000 by the Village of Georgetown, Ohio, for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and equipping a public works building and declaring an emergency.
Questions?
So just to be clear, we're declaring an emergency to build a building and we're taking out a loan for $535,000.
Part of it, yes. It's bonds.
Which is a loan.
In essence, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? If we are to do this, we need a motion to adopt
I would so move to adopt.
by Jeremy Varner. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Kelly Cornett. Let's do a roll call vote. Bink Garbett.
Yes.
Mike Mays.
No.
Kelly Campbell.
Yes.
Kelly Cornett.
Yes.
Jeremy Varner.
Yes.
Nancy Montgomery.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I don't know what the ordinance number is. I think that I have to come back to you with that. I don't have that with me. Brian, text me that. Hang on a second. We'll have to send that to you. I don't have it, so, but that did pass as an emergency ordinance. On page 16 of your packet is an ordinance for the disposal of property. From time to time, we acquire vehicles, desks that we're getting rid of, anything that's of any type of value that we can get rid of. And Chief, you may want to go in this. You're the one who puts together a lot of this information, you and Sergeant Green.
I have to give Jesse credit on this one. He's the one that took the initiative to make a list and take photographs of all these things. These are actually just, they're the cages we have in the cars, but they're obsolete because they no longer make those model cars anymore. So we just kind of been holding on to them and they're taking up space. So if somebody else can use them, we can make a small profit off of it. So be it. I believe there's some consoles there as well that held our equipment when those cars were in use.
Any questions in regard to this? But
People really buy this stuff. I mean,
Surprisingly, yes, because we've been there too, where, budgets are tight. Sometimes
Yeah.
you might pick one of these up cheap and then just make it fit, take it to your local welder, make it fit. So
how hard is it for left-handed law enforcement officers to do the typing and everything?
we just don't hire them. No, I don't. Honestly, I've never crossed that bridge.
I just always, I think about them,
Kelly, if you would read this by title, please.
An ordinance authorizing the sale, disposal, or transfer of personal property from the Village of Georgetown.
Any more discussion? We would entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
By Kelly Cornett. Do we have a second? By Mike. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Again, Bink?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kelly Campbell?
Yes.
Kelly Cornett?
Yes.
Jeremy Varner?
Yes.
Nancy Montgomery?
yes.
Very good. Okay. On page 21 is a resolution. If you remember right, it was either the last council meeting or the council meeting before. Since there is a resurgence of COVID infections coming out, we at one time had a COVID policy for a specified amount of time that we were not going to charge our employees sick time in order to try to get well. It was kind of like, we want you well, take the time that's necessary. So this is basically to re-energize that same type of plan that we had before. So page 21, Kelly, if you want to read this too.
A resolution allowing employees of the Village of Georgetown to take paid sick leave related to COVID-19 without utilizing their sick leave balance.
Any questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
hi.
Go ahead, Nancy.
Section 3, we've had several out. We've had a couple I heard who were really sick. Does Section 3 take care of, I don't know if you would say making this retroactive? There was a gap in there.
And I know that we spoke about that at the time, but I think it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's
Retroactive to September 1st.
Okay,
at the top of the document, like third paragraph.
section 6.
Section 6, I got stuck on Section 3.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure that was in there for
Okay.
some.
Michael?
I was just curious, when COVID was at its height, did we run into the problem of people running out of sick days or was that something that was just done before that transpired?
There was federal law in place at that point in time that did the same thing that this resolution does.
I was just curious, though, how did that, thank you for that answer, but Mayor, I was curious as far as the village was concerned, did we have a problem with people?
I don't know that we had a
not
lot of
having-
problems. I think there were some people that were out for, 10 days, 2 weeks.
So
something
sick
like that.
days are sick days, and I can totally respect covering people, but at the same time, I don't think we're that large of a business per se that, you couldn't take it on a one-on-one basis. And
No,
then there's a lack of chance that
Yeah.
it could be took advantage of, I guess is what I'm.
We're
And
small enough.
I'd like to
that,
think
yeah.
we've got great employees that wouldn't, but I'm just.
But we are small enough where we know whether they're pulling the wool over our eyes. too.
Right,
But,
right. So,
you know, this is something that council wanted, excuse me, have enacted.
Well, I
And
know
that's what
that-
this resolution is about.
I know that Nancy and Councilmember Nancy Montgomery and Councilmember Kelly Cornett had said in the last meeting that I had watched when I was sick and was unexcused by them too for being sick from the same cause. I just wanted to see, how that worked out.
Unfortunately, Mike, you were, in my opinion, you were unexcused because you've missed so many meetings. So
Yeah,
that's
but-
irrelevant.
Yeah, no, it's not irrelevant, Kelly. No, it's not at all. Because I had to use a CPAP machine myself because I was to that point of sick. And furthermore, we are elbow to elbow in here. You come in coughing, you get me sick. I don't want that. And I would hope that each one of us respected each other to that point as well. That's all I have, Mayor.
But we have this resolution here. If we wish to adopt it, we need to make a motion to that effect.
I so moved to adopt
By
this.
Jeremy Varner, do we have a second?
Second,
Second by Kelly Cornett. I'll start at the other end down here. Nancy Montgomery,
Yes.
Jeremy Varner,
Yes.
Kelly Cornett,
yes.
Kelly Campbell, Michael,
Yes.
Bink.
Yes.
Okay. Pass. Again, I don't have the resolution numbers.
I have a question as a
Yeah,
manager.
go ahead.
I know the stipulations when you, like the time you're supposed to quarantine seems to change from month to month, week to week. Can there be, I mean, just as a manager and protecting, trying to get shifts covered, can there be like I don't know, something attached to this that says, or whatever the current mandate is, for quarantine? Does that make any sense?
That would be a good question for Chief Rocky, because you're more on top of that with what the state health department says, what the time frame is that you should be away. And is that something you could get to the department heads for them to look at? Okay, is that satisfactory?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Just a quick temporary one, Rob. I just Googled the CDC regs and it says 5 days right now if you test positive. But obviously Joey's can update that. I'm just saying if you need it tomorrow. But obviously, Joey, you're way more on top of that than Google. What's up? Google is my doctor, right? So, yeah.
Also, on page 23 of your packet is a resolution for continuing our agreement with Hammond Consulting. Jason Hammond has been with us for a couple of years and is working with our Port Authority, getting them up and rolling, and it's the anniversary of his contract. So Kelly, go ahead.
Are they going to pass this tonight?
Oh, yeah, we just did, didn't we? The roll call on
Did we
the,
roll call on it?
we did a roll call.
I thought there was a question before we did the roll call.
I think it was after the,
Oh, okay.
well, it was before the roll call, and then we did a roll call to pass it.
Okay,
Okay.
Yes.
all right.
The COVID one
Yes.
was passed by.
Okay.
Yes.
And again, I apologize for not having the resolution numbers, but I will get them to you. So Kelly, could you read this on page 23, please?
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a professional services agreement with the Hammond Consulting Group.
Questions? He is our Economic Development Director. Any questions from council?
We normally, that contract run out in January, I presume?
No, it was, the year was up at the end of September, I believe. Yes, he has. Is there any questions in regards to this contract?
I would like to get some information on, this happened before I came on council, and I'd like some information on what he does. I don't have any idea other than what I saw on the Zoom, I think 2 Zoom meetings. I just don't know how much are we paying?
We're paying
$3,000 a month. And
yes.
I'd like to see what it is that he does.
Okay.
We also received one monthly statement of what he had done 3 months ago. And I thought we were getting them monthly, but I haven't seen nothing since that one that I'd requested many times.
I'll do it every month, but we can get that done. He's working with lots here in the Village of Georgetown, large tracts, to try to attract business. He's working with Ready Cincinnati for people to come out here. He's helped form the Port Authority for the Village of Georgetown. And they are anxiously trying to gather a piece of property to sell to a business. So he promotes our village all over his websites, on our website. So any vacant property that's of value to sell for a decent amount of price is promoted by him on his website. When he goes to conventions or trade shows, whatever the case may be, he does that.
He was not involved with Waldom.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And he was the one who found Waldom Electronics to come in here and fill the void out at the Stanley Tool Works.
How long ago was that? 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago. Yeah.
So how long have we had him? 3 years now or 4?
We had a different one before him, so I don't know exactly how long. This is
3 years.
probably 3. Yeah.
About $100,000. A little
Yeah.
over 100,000 so far.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions? Do we want to entertain a motion to approve this contract?
I would so move.
By Jeremy, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
By Nancy, we can start down here. Nancy,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Kelly Campbell.
This for 1 year?
Yes, it's a 1-year
Yes.
contract. Mike,
I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Bink,
I'm going to abstain as I don't feel I have enough information
Okay.
to really make a decision.
okay, well, the motion passes. Again, I don't have the resolution number, but we will get that to you. Also, at this point in time, I would like to go into an executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G1, to consider the appointment and employment of a public employee.
We have 5 minutes before that.
Yeah, we can do 5. Well, we need a motion to go
Oh, sorry.
into there.
Well, I would recommend taking the recess before we do the vote on executive session, because then we would be. in
Okay,
executive
okay,
session.
that's right, okay. Let's take 5 minutes and come back, and then we'll go into executive session.
Thank you.
All right.
Motion for executive session.
We'll have to go.
It's still
to a
live.
motion when we come
Oh,
back.
yeah, we are still live. Sorry. Thank you, Nancy. Yeah. Rob, you got that? Thank you.